What's up? Welcome to the Part-Time Rockstar Podcast, episode 38. I'm your host, Brett. Today, my guest is Will Sims. He's a Baltimore-based alternative rock and pop artist. Been playing around the scene now for more than a few years. Got a couple albums out. I'll feature his song Everything Will Work Out on this episode. Will says his music focuses on themes that center strongly on both romantic and social relationships, as well as the difficulties faced in our modern society. He's been fortunate to open up for some larger touring acts such as Puddle of Mudd, Saving Abel, Trapped, Smile Empty Soul, and some others. His website is listed in the notes. And other than that, hopefully everyone out there is doing well. Thanks for tuning in. As always, if you're in a band and you got new music coming out, feel free to hit me up. Other than that, thanks again for supporting local music. Episode 38, Will Sims. Yeah, anyway, welcome. Thanks for chatting. Thanks for hitting me up.
Yeah, man.
Kind of started this podcast during the quarantine. Somewhat out of boredom, but it's been really fun because, I don't know, I've gotten to come across a bunch of people that either I wanted to talk to or just didn't know about. And it's kind of turned into a thing. But ultimately, I hope I can support, everybody's music around here.
Awesome, man. Yeah, appreciate it. That's cool.
And it's, generally speaking, pretty convenient, A little bit of editing, a little bit of promo, but other than that, I feel like it helps the scene, So, you've been kind of on my radar, I feel like, at least in the Instagram world or somewhere. Maybe even the real world. I don't know. I feel like your name comes up though. So,
yeah, I mean, I've been a part of the scene for years, and I've kind of dabbled in a lot of different stuff over the years. Just everything from running open mics to booking shows, and I've been running lights for bands for a long time. So,
yeah.
I've been on that kind of side of it as well as playing music.
Right on. So yeah, let's get into it. I guess I was checking out your stuff today, and obviously you got a new one out. I believe everything will work out.
Yup, everything will work out.
Yeah, it's an upbeat, optimistic tune, which the world can always use more of those.
Yeah, I recorded it. I did most of the recording like a couple years ago. Um, I was in Orlando for work, and I was we had a couple days off, so I thought it'd be cool to go to a studio down there and record a song. And I just kind of had like the lyrics and some chords, so we went in and tracked it, and it kind of became like a thing that it was kind of on this pile of projects that I needed to finish for a while. And then this year, I figured, the way the year's been going, thematically, it felt like a good song to kind of release. And so I hit up my buddy Tony from the Deep End Studio, and
Yeah.
and I just wanted him to put some piano on it. So I had him. He did that for me, and I put it out. And I think I think that a lot of people really liked it, and hopefully it kind of gets the message across that I want to. I mean, on top of COVID and with the election and everything, like just there's a lot of people that aren't happy about one thing or another, and I think that's
Yeah.
an important message to kind of think like, a lot of this stuff isn't, it isn't really the end of the world, not yet at least. Nobody's turning into zombies yet, but
Yeah, bombs ain't dropping yet. But Yeah, man. It's definitely professionally recorded and sounds good all around. Clearly, like you said, you've been in the scene a little while, so I was kind of gonna get into that. And I mean, I can obviously look through your discography, but I feel like getting it from the horse's mouth and you kind of going back a couple years to what got you fired up to get going in the first place, whether it was just running sound, or I mean running lights, or more than that, that kind of got you going.
Um, well, ever since I was a kid, I seemed to like enjoy singing. You know, when I used to do chores around the house, I would have my headphones on. I'd be singing along with the music, and and it was just something I enjoyed doing, I guess. But it wasn't until like my senior year of high school that I really picked up the guitar and started playing it and like trying to really learn it.
Yeah,
I tried before and it just didn't take. But then I guess I just got like committed to it and I was just like playing it every day for hours on end. Like I can only imagine how annoyed my parents were because like it might sound good when you're playing it when you start out, but your ear isn't quite as good. So like I listen back to stuff you know like just stuff from earlier bands, and I'm just like, man, we sound so out of tune. Like just the stuff that you get better with over time, and and yeah, I started playing guitar, um, and then it wasn't I grad after I graduated, I got a job, and then a few months after that, I was like, hey, like I've been playing guitar for a while, maybe I'll see about joining a band. So I met with some guy that was I can't remember, there was a website that was around then. It was like I want to say it was called BaltimoreBands.com, and
yeah,
it was basically like a dedicated classifieds page for finding music. I mean, I went back there a few years ago, and it looked like it was just ad space, and it like wasn't really being utilized anymore. It was
yeah.
like it was I guess like pre Craigslist, but I could be wrong about that. But
Well, Facebook's kind of taken over, I think,
yeah,
in that realm.
yeah. So I met up with some people, and we jammed, and it was fun. And we were all kind of like, yeah, like I think we could do this. And they're like, all right, well, we need a singer. And I was like, and we were like, cool. Like, how do we want to do this? And they're like, all right, well, we'll all take turns singing. And we were like, all right. So I was like, all right, I got a song. So I played a song, and then they were like, well, you're the singer. Like nobody else even tried. They were just like, yeah, you're definitely the singer.
Yeah,
And we I after that I kind of started like hitting up open mics more and like trying to like get out and perform. And after a couple years after like a few months of that, I got some feedback that was kind of like they pretty much everyone said you have a good voice, but you should get voice lessons because just to kind of get more control over it and kind of find your range and stuff. So I did that. I did voice lessons for about a year and a half, and I think it really helped. And then
yeah, for sure.
you know, and then just over the years, I played in a few different bands, and the last band I was in was called Roll It Over. We were around for about 3 or 4 years. We went through a few different lineup changes, but we did get an album out before that ended. And after that, I kind of decided I wanted to just kind of be a solo act and um, just kind of be able to like I could work with whoever I wanted, you know,
Yeah,
kind of
man.
make the
I
decisions.
I certainly know the feeling, and I know the plight that we all eventually start to face if you want to write music, especially if you're driving the ship or running the circus or whatever it is. I sort of want to backtrack just a tad, though, in the sense that you mentioned you recorded in Orlando, and the way you said it, it sounded almost like haphazardly, like you didn't quite plan it. And I think
Uh,
that's really interesting. If that's maybe I misinterpreted,
I
but
don't want
that's
to
kind of cool.
say it was super planned out, I want to say like a
Yeah.
week before I want to say like a week or maybe 2 weeks before we flew down, I started emailing studios. And I
Okay.
was like, all
Yeah.
right, I got some money. I emailed like 4 or 5 places. I think like two or three of them didn't get back to me. But two of them did, and I booked one in each studio. There was a place
That sounds
called
fun.
Evergreen Sound, and then there was a place called Fat Planet, and I did a day in each one.
Yeah. So like, I mean, say comparing that experience to what you've done before, you got two full length albums out as far as at least I can see, which is 2016's The Lovesick and also 2016's May Never Be Forgotten.
Yup.
Is that accurate? Yeah. I mean,
So it's
first of all,
funny, like the my experiences in recording are very vast and different. The kind of the way they all worked out. Um, both the experiences in Orlando were great. The producers that were there were awesome. They were very welcoming. Um, they like it seemed like they were kind of excited at the prospect of me being out of town, and like it kind of seemed like a cool experience. And um, there's still one song from that from one of the days that I've still got to finish, but it was just a cool experience in general. Um, the Just between the two albums and even the singles that I have out, my first album, May Never Be Forgotten, that was I kind of started working on that while I was still um, in my previous band, Roll It Over. Um, I was doing the if you know Sheffield Recording Studio or recording Sheffield Center for Recording Arts or whatever. Yeah.
I don't. I kind of record with my buddies,
Yeah,
generally
they're
speaking, but I'm always interested to hear how people do it around here.
well, they're like a audio like they're kind of like an audio production like school, and
Yeah.
they so people go there to learn about audio mixing and recording live and in the studio. And they do like a thing like 2 or 3 times a year where they need a band to come in so the students can mic them up
Yeah.
and learn how to do it, and then you kind of get to record for free. And so I kind of started doing that, and we did it once with the band, and then they were kind of like, that was cool, but I don't know if we want to do that again. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna do it again. And so I just started like calling like different musicians that I knew and was like, hey, you want to work on a song?
Yeah.
And I did it like 2 or 3 times and got like most of the songs that were on that album. And and um, so I basically would go there, and you have like 4 hours, and it takes them about 3 hours to get set up. So you really have about an hour to record. And so we
Yeah.
go in and you bust out a bunch of tracks, and it was cool because they did it live. So everybody is in the room playing together, except for me. I'm in like a separate booth, but we're all basically playing the song at one time, and they're recording it all at one time. And then I basically just got all the files and I took it to Tony at the deep end and had him mix it. And and so that first album was kind of born out of that. And so most of the songs
Yeah.
came from
So
those
so
sessions.
that's definitely a different experience to just say. It sounds like winging it down in Florida compared to like planning it out, and I think that that's cool that you'd even try it. And from listening, I would say you wouldn't know the difference, um, and maybe that doesn't matter at all. Whether it's planned out a lot or if it's a little bit more spontaneous. You know.
Yeah, I mean like the it was all very spontaneous, and I felt like I was lucky to have the guys playing with me that I did. They were all great musicians and writers, and they came in and really helped me, knock the songs out. But even like when I was recording it, I wasn't thinking like, oh, this is going to be my first solo album. I was like, hey, let's just do this. And then after the band split up, I was kind of had all the stuff, and I was like, well, let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of worked on that, and then somewhere in that time, I recorded the first single that I released, which was Amber Eyes, which was like the first song that I actually put out as a solo artist.
Which is kicking, a mild amount of ass on Spotify, I'd say, We got about 10,000 streams there that I can see, which ain't bad. Did you want to talk about the female vocalist who was involved with that song?
Yeah, Lindsay Collette, she was playing in a band called Punch the Unicorn, and
Nice.
yeah, they're based out of Annapolis,
Yeah.
and we did a show. I think we did I think they did a show for me when I was booking shows around that time, and and when I was working on the song, a lot of the stuff when I after I kind of decided like, okay, I'm gonna do the solo thing, it became less of like me like writing songs and then recording them. It would be more like I would go to Tony and say, hey, I have this kind of idea, and then we would build it from there. And so like at some point when we were working on that song, I was like, this song needs some female vocals on it. And so I kind of put the word out, and a couple of people responded, but Lindsay had like the kind of voice that I wanted for the song.
Yeah, sounds great.
And and to her credit, she kind of came in, and I was like, I'm kind of looking for this, and it'd be cool if you did that. And she just knocked it out of the park. Like uh, she kind of came in blind and really killed it, I think. And I think it made the song better. I think it would be better. It's so much better with her on it than without her.
No, I completely agree. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with like Joey Harcum down the road there. He's got a couple songs there with female vocalists on them, and they always crush. So I feel like it's always a decent strategy if you know somebody who's got the pipes. But speaking of the pipes, what do you have in the pipeline as far as stuff you're working on, stuff you want to promote now, and just kind of writing in general?
Yeah. So when I was recording my second album, Lovesick, I actually
Yeah.
recorded enough songs for two albums. So I've been kind of
Wow.
sitting on another album, waiting for the right time to release it. And so that's definitely, hopefully, early next year. I'll have that album come out. Um, and then aside from that, I have two other albums I'm working on kind of concurrently.
Are
And
they collaborative or all solo?
um, I mean, collaborative in the sense that like I kind of like bring people in as I need them. Like I'll usually have a song and I'll say, um, I really like the way
But
this person plays, and so I'll say, hey,
but
can you come
yeah,
play on it?
released under your name.
Right.
So if I'm counting right, that's three albums.
Yeah. So three albums that haven't been that aren't released yet, but are in the pipeline. Yeah.
Wow. So studio fees gotta be racking up.
Yep.
Um, this is like I said, what I call like the working man's musician podcast, so to speak. So like what do you do occupationally, or what do you do for work?
Well, I work in production right now. I mean, I I was a server for a long time. I was a line cook.
Yeah.
But I think it all kind of came to a head, and I've been doing lights for years and kind of working different shows over the years, and
Nice.
so I got into the world of production, and so that's kind of like my day job, and it's a little bit more chaotic than my other jobs, but I I think I really thrive in that environment.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, you were saying you also booked places in Annapolis. Which venues, if they're still around?
I was booking a place in Glen Burnie called Crossroads
Yeah,
Tavern, which is gone now. Most of the places I work at are gone now. I don't know if that says anything
I
about.
kind of figured, but
but
happens.
but yeah, I was trying to bring in. We were trying to make it like a real build like a real music community there. Like
Yeah.
The guy that was running it was really cool about like having out of town bands, so we would try to get an out of town band every week, and
Nice.
so I'll bring bands up from Annapolis and DC if I could, and I found a lot of really good bands doing that. We were having a blast, although it didn't seem to really like take off how we wanted, and
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can kind of pick your brain more so on being involved in the scene for as long as you have. I mean, I know you've been putting out your own stuff since 2016, but I feel like you probably go a little further back than that, just being involved with booking people. I mean, do you see a positive evolution? Do you see things de-evolving as a scene? Do you see plus sides, downsides? Like, what are you seeing now? I would kind of add the caveat of obviously there's a a pandemic going on,
right,
but
but
um,
pre-pandemic, like what are
yeah,
my thoughts? Like
yeah.
I think
Was
that
there?
I think that there are really great scenes within Baltimore. Um,
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's hard to find the right scene for you,
Mm,
and it's easy to feel like we need to unify everybody and stuff like that. But like some of these scenes, like some of these scenes want to be underground. Like there's like kind of like a little bit of an indie scene that I've kind of picked up on, in like some of the smaller venues, and and a lot of those bands seem like they're doing pretty good. And I think that there's I think it comes down to like how much like a band really wants to grow. Like some bands like enjoy doing it for fun, and um, there's some bands that are really trying to make it, and it really just comes down to how honest you are with yourself about where you want to go with it. Um, the My buddy Kevin, I don't know if you know Kevin Hawk. He books a lot of stuff around town, and he's been putting on some really great shows, like sold out local shows, like three or four
nice.
local bands. They sell out 200, 300 person venue, and it's a great show. And he does them like almost every month,
That's awesome.
and uh, and those are bands that are really out there putting the work in, and building their fan base, and
Yeah.
finding people that are into their music. Um, and that's a great
It's
thing. It's easy to look at that and be like, oh, those bands are in with that guy or whatever. It's like, well, yeah, you're going to get in with somebody if you're putting the work in and showing the effort. Like that's the kind of people that booking agents want to work with. And
for sure.
and
And like, not to stop you too short, I
right,
hope, but it is interesting, like you're saying, to find those small scenes. Like, it's kind of exciting. Like around here, there's almost like I'd be hesitant to call it Western or blues or bluegrass, but there's younger bands that cruise through like Catonsville, and there's a couple like underground shows called like Schmidt House shows. And I mean, like I said, pre-pandemic, those things were humongous. Like as far as a house show goes, you'd have two or three bands touring coming through, and local bands too, and you'd have a few hundred people in the backyard, and it was interesting to watch there for a while. Hopefully, it comes back. But my personal experience is more trying to book shows within the city and within Annapolis, and you
yeah. And I
know,
mean, like I don't I haven't partaken in some of the smaller scenes, but I see other bands posting. Like
yeah,
you know, I almost like I'm always surprised at how many bands, like I'll just keep hearing about this other band from Baltimore that's been around a while, and I'll be like, man, like always surprised at how many I keep hearing about. And I'll just see them posting stuff like they're playing here, they're playing a lot, and they're getting booked again. So to me, that says like these guys
yeah,
must be bringing a crowd, or like there's some places like I know Sidebar is really small. There's a place called Reverb downtown that's kind of
yeah.
small. It's like
I love playing sidebar.
Yeah, like, if you can bring a few people out to that, and every band brings a few people, you got a nice little crowd there, and you can
Oh
have a
yeah.
great experience out of that. Like, to me, like, I've I played a lot of shows over the year, but I've never I've never lowered my performance level based on how many people are in the room. Uh, if I'm playing to 10 people or 100 people, I'm up there giving it my all.
Yeah, I always like to say that when the bar's empty, we're playing for the ghosts and the bar spirits, you know?
And I have played to some empty
So,
bars. It's been
yeah.
I play in
But,
a
you know,
I play in a cover band. We're called Phantasm, and
word.
we played a show like that. It was this bar like in Southern Maryland, and
Yeah.
it was like a biker bar, and it was like the first nice day of the year. So all the guys were out like riding. So when we got there, place was packed. And then like we played one set and like everyone loved us. And then after our first set, everyone left. And it
Hmm.
was like empty the rest of the night. And we were just like, fuck.
Yeah, well, that's when it's time to get a little lubricated, you know? No
Yeah.
more pressure.
And they were
Just gotta
great. They
hang
were
out
like,
and play.
man, they were like, we love you guys. Like it's such a shame that like everyone left. And like sometimes they hook us up with drinks and stuff. A lot of places are really cool.
Yeah. So, like, what do you feel like the highlights of places you played have been? You know, that might be the low lights, but I'm sure you got a few highlights in the reel somewhere,
Yeah.
venues or
Um,
parties or something.
I've
Uh,
I wish I played more house parties. I don't know if I've ever been with a group of people that I think I could pull that off with. And now I feel like I'm like older, and it's like I don't know if it's as cool to play a house party.
you still
But
got a pretty young face,
I do hear
so
that a lot.
yeah.
But
So you're not struggling in that department.
yeah.
You don't look like somebody's dad yet.
um, but I played some really cool shows. I've gotten to open for a lot of cool bands over the years. Um,
Like
my
who?
my band Roll It Over, we opened for like Charm City Devils. We opened for Taproot. Um, we've opened for I just had one on the tip of my tongue. Oh, Saving Abel. They played at
Word.
Ram's Head, and we got to open for them. That was a really cool show. Those are always just great shows because you kind of get in front of an audience that's there to see this other band, and it kind of gives you a little bit more mysticism because you're opening for this band. Like these people don't know that, you know, most of them don't even know you exist. Like they're just like, wow, you're
Oh yeah.
from. They might even think that you're like on tour with the band. You'll just be like, yeah, we're from Baltimore. They're like, oh wow, I didn't know about you. One of the biggest shows I played, I got to open for Puddle of Mud. That was that was a really cool crowd. That was an awesome show.
Was that a fish head show?
Yeah, that was a fish head.
I figured.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a cool show. We um that was the one. I don't know if you were there or if you just kind of saw.
I've heard a couple things. Second Wind, mostly stories from the promoter who put the show on about how he had to
You know,
pick up the lead singer at the airport and he was way late and way wasted.
that was the one that I opened
So,
for. That was Brian
yeah,
who books the show. I've known Brian for a few years. Yeah, that
yeah.
was the first one, and then I ran lights for the second one, and that was the one where they played for like 3 hours, and they were like, they're as good as I think they can be right now. I think his voice is a little blown out, um, but for the most part he can sing the songs. But they played for like 3 hours, and like by the end we were like, dude, can you guys just like wrap it up, like
Yeah.
but but it was still cool, and like you said you get this kind of mysticism from the audience of like wow, like you guys are really good and you're open for them, like um
I
aside
think
from
the
that.
goal of a independent artist is ultimately to play to people that don't know you. You know, if you view it as a challenge, I mean, it's much better to play for that than to play for a bunch of people who do know you, because then they're gonna incorporate everything they know about you with every little song that you write. So it's just, I don't know, it can be a different feeling.
Well, it's that whole thing of like build like you have your fan base and then you have your kind of like your family and friends and like they're really great when you start out to kind of give you momentum, but like the ultimate goal is to build a fan base of people that are supporting you because they enjoy your music. You know, your family and
Sure.
friends, they're supporting you because they love you. That doesn't necessarily mean that they enjoy your music, you know. I want to play on stage to people that are singing the words of my song because it connects with them, you know.
Yeah.
And it's that's the real challenge I think these days, like despite all of the ways that you can reach people is finding a way to reach the right people that are going to be into it. And I've been lucky. I've gotten my music to some people that seem to like really enjoy it and are actual fans of what I put out. Some of them are musicians. Some of them are people that live in other states, and you know, all I can do is just keep working on it and building and trying to find those people.
Yeah, so if it's not too far of a tangent as far as lyrics go, like, I don't know. I like to have discussions about lyrics in particular. Mostly, at least for me, I find the most interesting part of writing songs sometimes, outside of the music part, outside of the guitar riffing and all that stuff, is like, all right, what's the concept for this song? And like, how weird can we get with it, or how serious can we get with it, or how nonchalant can we get with it? And for me, a lot of times, I like a specific subject, like a book or a concept, but I also, like writing about relationships or something. So, what fires you up in particular, would you say, to get the lyrics flowing?
Yeah, generally a lot of my songs are based on my interactions with other people, whether it's like a girl I'm into and how things are going with them, or even like how things are going within a band, like between the bandmates, feeling like sometimes feeling like I'm the only one that gives a crap and
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to do something with it. Like everyone wants to be equally credited and have the same amount of success, but I'm the only one that's actually like willing to put the effort in, you know. And and you know, and I might be right or wrong about that, but it's just how I feel in the moment. And so a lot of my songs are kind of drawn from that. Um, I'll usually I'll usually get really I'll usually be really bothered by something or really upbeat on something, and then I'll kind of try to like, and then I'll usually get like a song, I'll either get a musical idea or I'll kind of get like a lyrical idea and then kind of build it from there. I've done it both ways where I have kind of the musical idea come first, and then I kind of got to put the words to it. But I find that like a lot of my better songs, I kind of get the words first. I kind of
Yeah.
I kind of get the
All
feeling
right.
of what I want to say, and then I kind of build the song around that.
Yeah, I love lyricism and poetry as much as I like music. And, like, I don't know. I used to write short stories about my friends
Nice.
just for shits and giggles. Make them sound cooler than they were, for sure.
And I'm really good
but,
too at like
um,
especially when I was in a band, like if the band would come in with a musical idea, I was really good. I would sit there and I would listen to it over and over again, and I would really kind of develop a story for the music, like something I thought fit. Um, a lot of the stuff on the Roll It Over album was like that. Like, uh, you know, I would be like, hey, like this song kind of has like a very ethereal and kind of dreamy feel, and so like I would kind of roll with that, you know. Or if it
yeah.
was a little bit more energetic, I would try to do something fun or kind of like interesting with that. Um, I never really felt like I've had an issue making kind of bringing a song to life. I mean, there's definitely been times I've been working on a song and been like, yeah, I don't know if this one's really worth finishing, but
What do you feel like sets you apart, if that's not too blunt of a question? And I apologize if it is. I just I don't know
No, it's
what
an
do you
important
feel like,
question to ask. It's
puts you out there on your own trail that you're blazing.
it's so hard to feel unique in today's world, especially. I think, um, especially when it like you could post something you could post something you feel great about online, and it can get torn apart, just as easily as it can get praised.
Yeah.
And I just feel like um, it's really easy to feel like you're really trying to say something, and no one's really listening. And I think that, whether or not I make it big playing music, if I can find that small audience out there that can relate to my song and like be, you know, do for them what music has done for me, which is like really kind of help me get through the darkest times.
Yeah, kind of invigorate you a little bit.
Right. Or there's times where I just get lost in a song and I'm just repeating it over and over and over again because for whatever reason I'm just feeling that. And that's really all that I hope for with my music is to kind of reach that audience. Um, I've I personally I'm not afraid to kind of play with the kind of music that I'm willing to make. I listen to all different kinds of music. Like maybe some styles not as religiously as others, but like I love Nine Inch Nails. I love Taylor Swift. I love a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
nineties
good old
band.
T Swift.
Right. Um, and so like because I've kind of drawn on all these different influences, I find that it kind of reflects in my music. Like even just listening to my first album, like there's a song that's kind of got like a jammy kind of feel to it. Unwind
Yeah.
has kind of like a reggae type vibe to it. Will You Remember's kind of got like an alternative pop feel, but I've had a lot of people that kind of they say it kind of reminds them of like a worship type song, like kind of almost like a
Mhm.
Christian rock, which is fine.
Yeah, no.
I've there's been bands that I listen to that kind of release songs that give me that vibe, even though that's not really their style. Um, some of the stuff that I got coming in the pipeline's a little bit heavier, a little bit more like hard rock.
Ooh, ooh. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of tell everybody this, but I consider myself far more a lead guitar player before anything else.
nice.
So, if you ever need, you know, a little sprinkle, a little some
Absolutely. If you got any
on a track.
if you got any stuff
Uh,
that you've done, feel free to send it to me. Like that's usually like my biggest deciding factor is like I kind of I've a lot of the people I work with, I've heard them play a lot,
yeah,
and so that's why like when I'm looking at a song and I'm going, man, this really needs this kind of feel, and I know who I'm looking for in that moment, and
yeah,
that's really just kind of how I've done it, and I think it's worked out pretty good so far. I don't think I've released too many
yeah,
stinkers.
yeah. I mean, hopefully not. That's not all killer, no filler. You know what I mean?
So true.
uh, yeah. I've had a band for the past few years, um, but it was actually largely, I think, because I got frustrated with playing guitar only, in the sense I couldn't drive the ship as much, or at least it was hard to find a band that needed someone to fill that particular situation. And I've always just kind of had a knack, like I said, for I don't know, coming up with something to write about. But yeah, in general, I try to keep these things around 45 minutes or so. Hopefully, you guys are going to probably have a good holiday, I would imagine. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I had a great holiday. Um,
Yeah.
I live with my dad and my sister, and I made dinner for them on Thanksgiving, so that was nice. Nobody
Hmm.
died from my cooking, so that's good.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that pretty much covers the shout outs, I guess, right? Dad, sister,
Yeah.
um,
Um,
bandmates.
Um, so I work with so many different people, but my buddy, the guys I play with in the cover band, a lot of them play with me in the solo stuff. My buddy Joe, he's been playing with me for years. He was in the last band I was in, Roll It Over, and
Yeah.
he's one of like the better writers on guitar I've ever seen. Like he can play a damn good solo, and he can learn any song like perfectly, like just from listening to it. He's not like gonna shred like Metallica or anything, but like the way that he writes is just perfect for whatever he's doing. He's great.
Nice.
Um, a couple drummers I've worked with are just fantastic. Jeff Gardner's played on a lot of my stuff. He's played a bunch of shows with me. Um, I mean, it's tough to like single out certain people because I've worked with so many of them. Like I don't want anyone to feel too left out. But those are probably the two that have like helped me the most in
Yeah.
terms of like getting my stuff kind of sounding the best that it can be.
Right on. So anyway, people should definitely check out Everything Will Work Out and Amber Eyes.
Absolutely.
Top two songs on Spotify for sure.
Yeah, everything will work
Um,
out. Should be breaking 1,000 any day now.
nice. Is there anything I didn't like touch on, or like you felt like maybe I should have asked, or like a
Um,
topic that you kind of wanted to get your thoughts?
I'm hoping at some point here, soon here, to try to do like some live music streams, like live streams.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing is really scheduled or planned yet, but I'm pretty spontaneous, so I might throw something together
Nice.
sometime soon. Uh,
Well, just so you know, I mean, this podcast has been going pretty good in the sense of like I put together a little undercover show not too long ago and had just bands from the podcast, and it went really well. So
nice.
I'm trying to do things with this as a whatever it is, a medium to kind of help people out, and maybe if that I'll put like a podcast together on Spotify with everybody, but little things I can try to do. So,
Yeah, keep me posted
um,
on that. And like I said, I'm open to doing more of these, like whether it's about my music or other stuff. If you like have a topic you want to do, I think that would be
generally I
awesome.
tell everybody like when you have a new thing coming out, just hit me up. Like we can talk about it for 10 minutes. We can talk about it for an hour. Just hit me up. Whatever. It's easy to throw together and promote it that way. So,
Cool. Yeah,
and I guess I'll send you a couple of my things for shits and giggles. I
absolutely.
tell everybody, just if you need a mean guitar solo, I'm your guy.
Yeah, maybe I'll hit you up for one of
So
these live streams. Like I said, I do have like my main guys that I go to, but I'm not opposed to throwing together like people that I haven't played with and just seeing what happens.
I'm always down for a jam sesh, man. So a couple beers and you know whatever else, I'm good to go.
Sounds
So
good.
I definitely appreciate you coming on and being flexible, all that stuff. And I'll keep you in the loop. Hopefully this will be out. I mean, definitely next week, maybe before that. I'll send you the flyers and I'll send you the edit of this thing.
Cool. Sounds good. Once I get off, I'll export the audio and send it over to you.
Definitely appreciate it. All right, man. Well, look forward to actually maybe meeting you in person one day.
Hell yeah, man.
So, have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
I can't seem to find the words to say. If we keep going, how will things end? Will everything work out right? Will everything work out right?
So yeah, I want to thank Will for coming on. Thought we had good all-around chat about everything he's been working on up to date. And if you're friends of his or friends of mine, I hope you enjoyed listening. Once again, the song you're hearing in the background is called Everything Will Work Out. And you can pick that up on iTunes or listen to it on Spotify or wherever you find music. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a good week.
Help me try to feel alive. Help me try to feel alive. Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, help me think things through. Break free and I promise you everything will work out right. Everything will work out right. Our thoughts are fading and I don't know why. We can't seem to find the tracks we've made. If we look forward and face our fears, we can try to make things right. We can try to make things right.